Well, now to our special focus this evening. The ongoing debate over the need for stricter laws to make social media platforms accountable for obscene, vulgar, or unacceptable content in the Indian context was reignited by Union IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav, who told Parliament that there was a need for stricter laws to curb quote unquote vulgar content on social media. My first question to you, Amitabh, when we talk about creating a framework, there are two issues. One is ensuring that it doesn't end up becoming a curb on freedom of speech and expression on these platforms. Two, the other is one that is a little more nuanced, which is algorithm specific. Usually these platforms are using algorithms which promotes content that works which has been used by content creators. Now, how do we create a framework which balances both, addresses both these issues?
Well, firstly, we should start off with the platforms implementing their own community guidelines. So these frameworks have actually been well articulated by the platforms themselves. The only thing is they are not following it in India. And not just in India, they are failing globally. Number two, as you said very clearly about algorithm, like ma'am just mentioned, see, vulgarity leads to views, and views is equal to profit. So unless we are putting in some extremely heavy fines, and Europe, UK, United States, Australia are fining them in a billions of dollars with a B. Unless that comes in, there is no motivation for the platforms to even implement it. They are very well aware about exactly what content goes there. Artificial intelligence has been used by very large platforms since 2012, over a decade. They know exactly each and every detail of the data. This is just outright negligence. And we as a country, and many countries are doing it, we need to implement having an internet which is of knowledge, which is of information, which is of creativity, but which is away from vulgarity and hate.
You're making a very important point, Amitabh. Very quickly on the safe harbor clause. Now, while is it just black and white, or is there a gray area that one needs to tread carefully? Very quick response from you before I go to Kushbu.
For most of the content, like child sexual abuse material, non-consensual intimate images, drug material, illegal, it is black and white. And each of this piece of content is monetized on these platforms. So there, it is almost criminal. When it comes to journalistic freedom, political freedom, ideological freedom, there we have to look into transparently. But what Neha is saying is absolutely true. For all the children below the age of 18, it is on the state, on the school, on the parents, and on the platform to make sure that they are protected and no harmful content is reaching them, regardless of any other points.
I just have one quick last question, and I'll start with you, Amitabh, on this. There are several global frameworks, international frameworks, like Neha was pointing out, Australia, which has been much in the discussion over the last few days in terms of age limits as well. Are these global frameworks adaptable to an Indian context, or do you think that there needs to be fine-tuning, and by the time we finish the fine-tuning, perhaps the technology advances to another level where it becomes difficult to implement? Very quick, I have very little time left. Quickly, Amitabh.
They are good for inspiration, but we need to home grow them. We have great policymakers in this country. We have great experts. We can definitely build a system of India which is implementable and which will be valid for at least a decade to come.